言うことは一つだけ。絶対負けねえ。
How's it going, everybody? This is Nothing Excess with a new Dream Team analysis. We have a couple players here that we've kind of let pile up. We've let Louis Napoleon, France's secret weapon, the new hidden ability version, pile up, but also we've got Lee Yong-un, the magnificent striker, who was just released with the new agility banner, and Natureza, Brazil's savior, who is the first Dreamfest player to come back in a mini Dreamfest who also received a hidden ability. And so we're going to go ahead and start. First off, we've got Louis Napoleon, France's secret weapon. The problem with this Napoleon isn't that he's bad at what he does, okay? On the contrary, he's a perfectly serviceable enabler with access to a good 1-2, a self-buff of 10% when played with Pierre, and a 1-2 range enhancement. In fact, if nothing else, this is the best player right now for the EX5 Challenge Road, as he can always use a 1-2 to basically get into the box and score almost guaranteed. So, in that regard, he's one of the best PvE players in the game, right? He has a specific purpose, and he does it really well. Now, the problem with that is he's otherwise unimpressive outside of that. 9.1k shot is good enough for PvE, but everything else languishes around the 8k range, save for his pass being 10.3k. His snow cover resistance passive almost entirely pigeonholes him as please use me for EX5 material, as if designed to only really specifically be good for that. Hell, everything about the kid is like that. His moves are cheaper, he kills European players, he ignores 2 special skill blocks, he has snow resistance, and his 1-2s are longer. That's basically the recipe to beat EX5, and he has all of it. Outside of that, he's not really worth looking for, but if you have him, unlock him, feed him, and keep him. Otherwise, kind of just move on. His position is forward, his role are enabler, utility, and PvE. He's basically a PvE exclusive player. He's tier B. He's still usable outside of that, but would I pull for him? No. If you don't already have him, don't bother looking for him. But if you have him, he's pretty nice, and he's going to pass EX5 for you basically by himself. So, now for his grading, he has a B scoring, double S enabling, defense B, pressure B. He's kind of independent, but not really. He still needs Pierre. So A as opposed to S, but other than Pierre, he's fine. Flexibility B, he's not very flexible. He's very durable though, he has a lot of stamina now, and he has pretty good skill support. His hidden abilities are pretty okay, they're A. I mean, they would be S if you need them for PvE purposes, obviously. Team skill A has a pretty good team skill, and the team skill is actually Team Skill European Football Emergence. It's a 10% buff to all European players, so good for PvE, but not much else. And his passive is Combination Pierre, free 10% for being on the same team as Pierre, which is something you'll probably do anyway because Eiffel Attack is his main skill. For some abilities, you see here Skill Block Cancel S, good for times when you get mugged by lots of skill blocks, like in EX5. European Player Killer, also S, 10%, good if you're up against a lot of European players, like in EX5. Snow Cover Resistance, C-rated, PvE stuff, and it's great for some missions, like EX5. Stamina cost down, double S, all skills are 20% cheaper, and that's actually kind of impactful. It's great if you need to spam your skills to beat an opponent, which you need to do in EX5. And 1-2 range enhance, S. All 1-2s are 50% longer, which is really good. It's great if you need to get into the penalty area really fast, which is important in EX5. Now for his limit breaks, really just one. It's the standard striker. It's going to be important when you go and use him for EX5. You want him to be fast, you want him to be able to pass well, and once you're in the box, you want him to score. So EX5, it's standard striker, speed 25, shot 25, power 25, pass technique 22-3. You should probably not bother with anything else. There's really no other options for him. You're not going to use him any other way. For his stats breakdown. Ooh. Stamina 1093, as you can see, his stats are pretty kind of evenly distributed. That does mean 8.3k dribble, 9.1k shot, 10.3k pass, 8.1k tackle, 8.2k intercept. He also has some block, but you're never going to use that. For a skill build, use the S and A versions each of Eiffel Attack and Cannon Shot. Level up the A versions of Eiffel Attack and Cannon Shot as high as the game will let you use them in EX5 match, and try to primarily use those instead of the S versions. You don't want more than 4 skills so that you always have some of them open even after skill blocks, because the way special skill block cancel works is it picks skills to protect before the game blocks anything. It's kind of silly, but I see why they did it that way. Anyway, have fun easily passing EX5 with this Napoleon. Next up, we've got Lee Yong-un, the magnificent striker. He's most definitely we released this player specifically for a certain event kind of guy. The dude is pretty average. It sucks if you've been waiting for a good version of Lee Yong-un all this time. He's a 10.6k shooter with 8k in his other offensive categories, who balloons to 14.4k shot, 11.3k dribble, and 11.6k pass when you're fighting a blue team. This is the player you basically are only pulling for if you're inexplicably missing a striker for the current Agility Cup and want a character that will be crazy strong in it with very little investment. He's good enough to rock a 74k shot post limit break for 415 stamina, and that's you can use that against the likes of 18 Mueller, 97 Genzo, and Dreamfest Ken, of which only Genzo's particularly worried about, to be completely fair. Which, I mean, it's good for the current event and maybe as a pocket counter character against some blue European teams in the future, but he doesn't particularly fit into any other kind of archetype, and he's too narrowly focused to be of impact in most situations. He is a forward. His roles are striker and counter. He's an A-tier character simply because he has a very obvious use, and he's very good at that obvious use. But other than that, he's not particularly great. Would I pull for him? If I was playing blue and I really needed a blue striker, yes. Especially if I wanted to do well in the Agility Cup and I was missing everything but a striker. Otherwise, I mean, if I was only missing a striker. Otherwise, nah. For his grading, he's a S scorer. You know, he's really not that bad at it. But this is particularly focusing on the fact that he can score against blue teams. He's an A enabler, B defender, C pressure. He doesn't apply a lot of pressure almost at all. He's very independent though. He doesn't really need other players at all. He's not very flexible, and he is pretty durable. 900 something stamina is good enough to be pretty flexible, especially since his skills are cheap. He doesn't have much skill support though. Now his team skill and his passive are both actually quite nice. Agility Killer is 35% stronger against blue players. That's pretty toxic as a wholesale counter, but otherwise unimpressive. And I know that I still gave it a double S, and the reason for that is because it basically, as long as you play him against a blue team, he basically is almost unstoppable. And that is very strong. If it was on a stronger character, it would be absolutely broken. And so it is an SSF passive on a character that's not SS, if that makes any sense. Now his team skill though is SS, and it would be good no matter what because you don't have to play him to have the team skill. Warriors Grand Emergence, non-Japan agility and forward goalkeeper. That's 13 for any non-Japanese agility players and 13 to your forward and goalkeeper. It's a good team skill. For those of you playing non-Japanese blue teams, particularly if you're rocking a mostly, say, South American midfield and have access to some super solidarity, perhaps more in the future, this would enable you to run someone like Ken at goal, which is great until a better goalkeeper comes around for your archetype. Now for his limit breaks, he's a striker, so what are you going to give him? You're going to give him standard striker. 25 shot speed, power, and then 22-3 pass technique. Now there really aren't any other options, but if you must have better passing and better dribbling really, then just go with old striker, 22-3 dribble speed, 22-3 pass technique, 25-25 shot power. For his stats, as you can see, 948 stamina. His stats against normal regular teams would just be 10.6k shot, 8.4k dribble, 8.6k pass, and as you can see, that's not very good. But as long as you play him against blue players, he has 11.3k dribble, 14.4k shot, 11.6k pass, 9.2k tackle, and 10.6k intercept. Actually very, very strong. Finally, his skill build. We have here, you can't really give him a whole lot of stuff. He has a This Is My Chance S, which is a pretty good shot. You know, it's like a 450 shot. It's the best shot he has for himself so far, so it's really all you can give him. Then S Swift Interception, which can be leveled up through League Coins, because there's a League Coin player with S Swift Interception. A Smooth Ball Keeping comes with. You can give him A Technical Pass, and then you can also pass him the S Low Flying Overhead Kick, I do believe, from the Gacha crappy version. It doesn't have a whole lot of options for skill selection, so this should be more than enough to get you where you're going. The Low Flying Overhead Kick is actually stronger than This Is My Chance because of his low ball buff, and it's cheaper to use, so you may want to give him that, especially if you have a low baller feeder, especially for the Agility Cup. That might be helping you a lot, and also Ken and no other goalkeeper in the game is good against low balls. Finally, the character you've probably all been waiting for when you're actually open this video, Natureza, Brazil's savior. The first Dreamfest unit to receive a hidden ability evolution is here, and they would of course do them in the original order of release. So here he is. Natureza gets a cool 300 to every one of his stats, a much better team skill, a slightly upgraded passive, a fairly rude collection of hidden abilities that make him a good addition to a lot of teams. That said, he's not immensely better compared to before, even with all of this. Perhaps the most impactful of his hidden abilities is Recover, which will make him obnoxious to deal with on the field, as he will become an incredibly sticky defender and will let him free himself quickly after a matchup if he passes the ball away to enable some manual 1-2 shenanigans. He also gives himself a free plus 2% stat boost from hidden abilities, and his is one of the first raw South American plus 2% stat buffs, which leads me to believe that we will be seeing a few more rainbow and blue South American teams soon. He's still pretty much pigeonholed as a counter to Japanese players, as he loses some effectiveness against teams of other types, but that makes him pretty strong in the current Japanese-oriented meta. Time will tell if all the other small goodies he gets help him become a staple once South American teams can be properly assembled in the future. Now of note, he gains a position due to hidden ability evolution. He is now also a forward, and that's pretty great. His positions are forward and attacking midfielder. His roles are striker, counter, and buffer. He raises to the S tier. I think that after a bunch of consideration and looking at everything, I think that he does belong in the S tier, particularly right now in a Japanese-dominated meta. Otherwise, I don't think he would be, but especially right now, and especially in the Agility Cup, he is a very strong character. Would I pull for him? Maybe, if you really need him. But if you want to like future-proof yourself, yeah, sure, I would go for him. For his grading, he's an S scorer and a B enabler. His enabling stats are actually not quite good, even though he has some pretty decent skills for it. He has A defense, A pressure, and A independence. I think he probably applies S pressure, but I'm not sure, and I don't know if the 5% hidden ability for interceptions is good enough, but we'll cover it in a little bit. He is double S flexibility, forward and attacking midfielder, and two completely different builds that you can go with him. And also the good skill support means he's also very flexible. He's very durable. He has almost 1300 stamina now. He has an S hidden ability. He has, S hidden abilities. He has an S team skill, and he has an S passive. His passive now is 20% Japanese player killer. So again, monstrously good considering where the meta is right now. And team skill is South American football grand emergence. That's 12% to South American players. Yeah, I don't know why it's not 13% because Roberto and Prodigy Tsubasa each give 13 to their respective regions and 7% to the other religion region. But I don't know. And obviously, like, all these other team skills are just coming out as 13% solids and stuff like that. So I don't understand why we still have South American 12%, especially because those other ones are technically strictly better and easier to use. So I don't know why this one, which is harder to use, is weaker. But again, I'm not the designer. I don't make those calls. So it is what it is. For his hidden abilities, he has Recover, which is a double S easily. You're stunned for 80% less time. That's very strong. It makes you sticky and enables all sorts of cool manual plays following out of matchups. Skill block cancel, good for times when you get mugged by lots of skill blocks, like against the current 97 defenders. That's an easy S. Pedal to the metal, he gets 3%, no questions asked, as long as he's in full power mode. That's an A. Not too crazy, but not too bad. Auto intercept enhance, easily double S. All of your team gets a 5% auto intercept enhance chance. If they don't already have one, they might use their skill 5% of the time. If they do, though, it's mostly irrelevant because they don't stack and they're not additive. You just use the highest auto intercept chance you already have. Still, it applies gross pressure across the field. Stats up, double S. Anytime you give 2% in unconditional stats to your archetype, you're doing well. This is 2% for South American players. Now, for his limit breaks, you know it, you love it. Standard striker. 25 speed, shot power, 22 3-pass technique. Now, some of you may be unconvinced of his passing and may not care to give him anything for it. This is the solution to that. You go dribble, tackle, shoot, 16, 16, 18, and shot power, 25, 25. For his stats, as you can see, stamina 1227, that's really high, and as you can see, stats did get a nice little small boost. 9.9k dribble, 10.4k shot, 8.6k pass, 9.8k tackle, and 8.4k intercept. You're not going to use block unless you're haranguing a defender and you think they're going to white shoot, so that's fine. However, if you're playing against Japan, then your stats do technically balloon much higher. 11.9k dribble, 10.5k shot, 10.3k pass, 11.7k tackle, and 10.1k intercept. Very, very, very powerful against Japan teams. Now, he has two different skill builds. If you're playing him as a forward, you may want to go with this one, which is S Miracle Flying Drive Shot, S Flying Drive Overhead Kick, and S 2-Stage Flying Drive Shot. Also, A High Speed Shadow Feint and A New Brazil Football. If he's going to go all in on striking, you will want to consider this one, particularly since his 2-Stage Flying Drive Shot and Flying Drive Overhead Kick hit 80.4k and 83.7k respectively. Once you fully limit break him, have his hidden ability, and you're facing a Japanese goalkeeper. That makes him a bit of a nightmare for 97 Genzo and Dreamfest Ken. Even Miracle Flying Drive Shot hits a 37.4k, which is a shot which still remains the second strongest shot in the game behind Flash Raiju shot on the ground. Now, if you want to build him more like an attacking midfielder, you will keep obviously the Miracle Flying Drive Shot, and not you can do much, and then you will keep High Speed Shadow Feint and Backstep Tackle, but you will also give him Flying Drive Pass and Lightning Interception S. If he's instead going to be more of a nuisance in the midfield while still featuring some shooting, you may want to go with this build instead. You may not be limit breaking for the pass or interception, but you want to have the strongest options available to you either way. As if you're matching up against a Japanese player, you should be strong enough that those options will weigh heavily on the mind of a defender, giving you options on offense even against the most loaded defenders. So your pass will still be good against Japanese players, pretty much, especially if they don't have a very, very high intercept, or if their intercept is not as guaranteed, and so you still might be able to bully them with it. So that's an option. Anyways, thank you all for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and click the like button and leave a comment telling me what you think before checking out the rest of the channel. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, please subscribe and ring the little bell to be notified of when new videos or posts are made. If you would like to support my work, you can leave me a tip by clicking on the Streamlabs link in the description, or you can join my Patreon where you can subscribe monthly and enjoy the unique benefits available to my Patreon subscribers. Check that out by following the Patreon link in the description below. Thank you guys for checking this out. I hope to see you all soon. However, I will warn you that EVO is coming up this next weekend, and as such, I will be out from Wednesday. And so I may not have time to make the Gino video, especially if we don't get any information on Gino in time. And so if that is the case, I will be doing a bedcast, but I will be doing it just like last year where I did it from a couch at Evo in the hotel in Vegas. I will be doing the same thing. So feel free to join me on stream if and when that happens, and we'll have a good time. We'll talk, especially if the grasshoppers are still plaguing Vegas. I'll go ahead and show you some from my camera phone. So anyways, guys, again, thank you guys for checking this out. Hope to see you all soon, and if you are watching Evo, enjoy Evo. Have a good one.